I'm Scott Bragg. I am the Director of Product Development at Peak Industries right now, but the role I'm playing today is I am working for Mug.news. Mug.news is a company that we started back in 2020 and during the pandemic. So it was a pandemic project that was basically telling the voice of founders throughout Omaha and the Midwest areas. And we call it Mug because of middle underground. And so it was our sneaky, under-the-table way of being sly. It wasn't my idea. It was Chapman's. So I'm going to throw Tom under the bus right from the get-go. And so, in fact, that could be the theme of today's podcast. We could just talk about throwing Tom under the bus as the first episode.
He'll be like, I'm really glad we spent money on that studio time.
Can we just go ahead and rent that studio and then just rag on Tom the whole time?
I'm Maria. I also work for Peak Industries as VP of Sales, but also on the Mug.news team, helping plan all of our socials, help write stories every once in a while, and just always excited to talk into a microphone.
And you handle a lot of the events, the event planning, and all that stuff.
Yep.
I am Tony Horner. I am the CEO of Fermented Felon, which is a local kombucha company. We currently service all the Hy-Vees in Omaha, Lincoln, Council Bluffs, and West Des Moines, and various other little retail shops around Omaha. I got started pandemic, kind of like how Mug.news got started. Everybody had free time on their hands. But I actually started my company. I just didn't form my LLC in 2019. That's when I started having health problems and I started really looking into entrepreneurship as my way of getting out of bartending. It's just I didn't have a product yet.
So Mug.news is obviously one of the sponsors right now currently, but I would like to try to get Diet Dr. Pepper because I don't, like, if you try to calculate the amount of money I spend on Diet Dr. Pepper, and if you can convert me from Diet Dr. Pepper to kombucha, like
that'd be really, really good for his long-term health. It's going to be really
valuable for your company for sure because I drink way too much of it.
I love Dr. Pepper. I want to make a Dr. Pepper flavor so bad.
Do you?
You should.
The cherry cola one's pretty close.
Is it close?
Yeah. It almost tastes like a cherry Dr. Pepper.
My friends make fun of me and they'll be like, where's your Diet Dr. Pepper? And these like people I know 20,
it's like his comfort
25
blanket.
years ago.
So
it is like my whoopee.
My business partner, who's also my older sister,
Yeah.
She is obsessed with Diet Mountain Dew. She was out of the house when I was a kid and she would always come home from college or after she graduated for Christmas and stuff like that and stay with us. And she always had a cube of Diet Mountain Dew because my parents would never stock it for her, and her and her husband would go through an entire thing in 3 or 4 days, and then they'd go pick up another one. And I was like,
that's me.
That's Scott.
That's me.
We'll write grocery lists so each of us can like maybe have something get stocked like for lunch and drinks. And I think maybe Tom will buy a pack of Diet Dr. Pepper like once a month.
Stopped buying it.
But he stopped buying it because it will be gone after 2 or 3 days.
So if you come up with a Diet Dr. Pepper flavor, I am 100% in. Or a Dr. Pepper one.
I was going to say, I won't make a diet one because diet means that it has aspartame in it.
Oh, is that bad?
Aspartame is horrible for you.
Is it?
Yes.
Yeah. Like it kills all of your microbiome.
Okay. This is good to know. Like I'm learning
and
things.
Kombucha helps build the biome.
Exactly.
So tell us why microbiome is so important and why kombucha is.
Yeah. Okay. Sweet.
I'm ready.
You ready?
Yeah, because I apparently don't have
so
a microbiome.
He has negative microbiomes.
No, I'm sure you don't have. You have 850 trillion microbiome in your body.
That's insane.
Yes, that's why taking 2 billion from a probiotic pill doesn't do anything.
Oh, okay.
And that's why it does do something, but you have to take them for the next 2 months in order for the colonies to work, because you're constantly getting pollutants into your body.
Okay.
So say like since you drink Diet Dr. Pepper regularly.
Yes.
And your doctor was like, hey, if you started taking probiotics, you would see these health benefits.
Okay.
And then you start taking probiotics, but you continue to drink the Diet Dr. Pepper. You are now like not doing anything. You're just wasting your money on the probiotics because you're killing them with the fake sugar. Kombucha is sweet black tea. So I take sugar, black tea, mix them together, and then I add a culture to it. And the culture has yeast and bacteria in there. And then those work together to consume the sugars and some of the other things like caffeine that's in the tea. And then they produce these things. They produce organic acids. And organic acids are the thing that's been clinically studied to have the health benefits.
Okay.
So when they study apple cider vinegar and they studied all these other things, so like all of these fermented things, the reason why they have any benefit is from the organic acid.
So does that include beer?
No.
Oh, man.
I know.
He's like, something I drink is healthy.
No, I already know it isn't, but
That's because that's only like half fermented. Like they're fermenting it for alcohol.
Yeah.
For ethanol production.
So if people haven't had kombucha before, what flavor do you recommend?
I would recommend sticking probably to the fruit flavors. Oh, actually, you know what? If you never had kombucha before, whatever flavor you think sounds the best to you is the one that you should get.
Yeah, I'd agree
Like
with that.
if you can't decide because all the flavors sound amazing, maybe start with the peach or the root beer. Those are my two best sellers.
How'd you get into high V?
Just asked.
Really?
No.
Easiest sale ever.
It actually was the easiest sale ever. I actually didn't have to do anything to get in Hy-Vee. They came to me.
Okay, but you did have to do something because where were you when they came to you?
Farmer's market.
So were you like personal training and then you were talking to people about microbiomes? That's where the idea of kombucha came from?
No. So actually, I had been a bartender for a really long time.
Oh, yes. Where were you bartending?
Oh, all over. I was at the Great Plume for a really long time. I did Roja downtown for a long time. Actually, I did like Flagship. I did a little tour of all the restaurants. Yeah. And Astoria Segreto, which is the speakeasy underneath Blackstone Social in Blackstone. And that place, actually, that was really cool to work there. The owners just gave me like free reign to like, they were like, we want to have a really cool bar. What can we do that's really cool for not a lot of money? And I was like, okay. I was like, so I came up with the idea of making our own liqueurs because that would maximize our profit. And it's something cool that nobody else does.
Oh, yeah.
So I started with just making limoncello, and then my recipe for limoncello was amazing. So I was like, let's try making some of these other things. Like we were using Cointreau, a lot of it, like various like classic cocktails. Yeah, margaritas and like sidecars. And anyway, so then I started making triple sec, and then I started making creme de violette. And so I was making all of these different, like pretty much anything that you can think. Like we were right next to Archetype Coffee. So I went over there. I had fresh beans that I had them grind, and then I took it back over and just poured Everclear over it. And
that sounds like trouble.
Coffee Everclear.
Oh yeah. So we had a whole section on our menu that was all like cordials, since a lot of people would come drink after dinner. So then we have a bunch of cordials that were all chilled. People could get them in snifters, things like that.
That sounds delicious.
And so you got into the habit of just like making things and figuring out what tastes good.
So yeah, so just using my instincts kind of. I studied mixology in Vegas, actually, under Angelo Sosa, who was like the runner-up of Top Chef season 2. And so I got to learn a lot from him. And then he had such a talented staff that he brought from New York and their expertise. And so I got to learn from all those people. And then I had family that lived in Southern California, and I really liked going to the beach. And I was like, I could probably make the same amount of money that I'm making in Vegas in Southern California. But I just didn't think that cost of living is like double, almost triple actually. So, and I was like, so I moved to Southern California, and I bartended on the beach for a couple of years.
Oh my God. Dreaming.
San Diego,
Yeah.
LA, where
LA,
something?
in the Tri-Beach cities. So
Okay.
I was in Redondo. I lived in Redondo, but I worked in Hermosa and Manhattan.
Nice.
Yeah.
So when did you come back to
It just-
Omaha or Bellevue?
2016. So I came back and I worked at all those places. I was like, and then I started having health problems. Like my heavy drinking from bartending started to catch up to me. And I started waking up with swollen feet and hands. And then my eyes started to turn yellow.
Check.
I hope your eyes and nails are
swollen
turning
feet
yellow,
and hands for sure, though.
Yeah. But I like that. You could also be other things too. You might be dehydrated or something like that.
Well, apparently
It's the Diet Dr. Pepper.
Well, there's so much sodium in that stuff.
There is.
So yeah, but I worked out all the time. And so like I, took supplements and I took care of my body and I ate a plant-based diet. I was like, this shouldn't be happening to me. I did a bunch of more research and I realized that I am starting to suffer liver disease. And I knew that the only option that a doctor would tell me would be, well, you should probably quit doing all the stuff that's causing that. And if it doesn't get any better, we're going to have to do surgery. Because that's what all the WebMDs and all that stuff told me. And I was like, there's got to be something better than this. So then I started scouring the internet and I found some bodybuilder guy that's a vegan that was an alcoholic for forever and was doing steroids and was going to have a liver transplant, and then he got passed up or something like that. So then he took his life into his own hands and did a bunch of research that then I didn't have to do any. But he took vitamin B2 and took a shot of apple cider vinegar every day. But he like mega dosed on B2. So he was taking like 2 of the supplement B2s that you can get from the store.
Yeah, like the 10,000s or whatever they
I mean, they're only like 10 milligrams, but it's 10,000% of your daily value in one pill. But he was like, take 2 of those and then take a shot of apple cider vinegar and you should get better. So I did it and I started getting better. But I hated the taste of the apple cider vinegar. It was gross. And I was like, then I was.
So how long did you taste the apple? Like you were doing the shots of apple cider vinegar.
Yeah.
For how long?
I did that for 6 months.
Holy cow. Are you kidding me?
Before I found the City Sprouts class. And then I took
we love City Sprouts.
Yeah. So I did a workshop with them. They had a vinegar making workshop. I was like, this is so cool. And and then me being a very curious person, I asked a lot of very direct questions about how I could make this commercially. And because, I'd always been trying to think about what kind of products I could bring to market.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And I was like, oh, nobody makes like a craft apple cider vinegar. And then I come to realize that there's a reason why nobody makes a craft apple cider vinegar. And it's because
it tastes awful.
There's not a huge market for it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It's nobody.
I'm making like balsamic vinegar too, which I can sell for $50 a bottle. Yeah. Then it's not really,
so you pivoted from apple cider vinegar to kombucha?
Yeah.
So how'd you learn how to make kombucha?
Just trial and error.
You didn't take a class?
No, I didn't. So I took that vinegar culture home with me because they gave us like vinegar to go make at our house.
Okay.
So I took it, I went and I made it, and I was like, this is amazing apple cider vinegar. And then I noticed if I did it a certain way, then I could carbonate it without having it have much alcohol in it. And so then I started doing it, and that's what I thought I could make as my product. But then I looked into USDA regulations, other jazz, and vinegar has to be made a certain way and that's not the way I was making it. So I was like, you know what? Instead of trying to figure out how to make that same product and follow USDA regulations, I just pivoted and went to kombucha. And I was like, let's look at kombucha. Like that's
similar.
Huge. Yeah, it is. It's super similar. And to the way that I was making my apple cider vinegar, it was exactly the same way. So I literally I took all the things that I was learning on, because I made beer vinegar, I made wine vinegar, red wine vinegar, white wine vinegar, because like I was still bartending at that time that I was doing all this experimenting. There'd be like bottles of wine that were going to go bad. And they're like, you want to take this home? And I'm like, yep, I'm going to go turn it into vinegar. And they're
like, yeah, I'm going to go put it in my liver.
There's some weird comparison to Jesus there that I'm just going to leave alone.
Turning wine into vinegar.
Wine into vinegar. Yeah. I'm just going to leave it alone.
Anyways. Yeah. So then I was like, I knew that there was a market for kombucha. So then when I started looking into making kombucha is when I really started to learn about the microbiome.
What year was that?
That was 2019.
2019?
Yeah.
Was the full-fledged kombucha. I'm in on kombucha in 2019.
I was still bartending up until lockdowns. But yeah, I was all in on kombucha. Like I was making test batches and I was like taking like liquor bottles home with me and filling them up with kombucha and then bringing them back for my coworkers and things like that. I'm like, you got to try this one.
Kombucha literal side hustle kombucha.
They were not paying me for it.
Okay.
And I wouldn't have
labor of love then. It's a labor of love at that point.
Exactly. Well, there was because they didn't taste all that great when I first started doing it because I was following everybody else's recipes on the internet. It wasn't until like I started to just use my own intuition and be like, all right, I can figure this out. And so
that's really fascinating.
So then I started looking at the microbiome, and there's 3 different types of acetic acid bacteria. You have acetic acid bacteria, which is just like your simple like lactobacillus. And then you have your gluconoacetabacter.
Maria, there's going to be a spelling test later.
Yep, I'm ready.
I know. And then there's your gluconobacters. And I make my kombucha I make it so it doesn't cater to the acetic acid bacteria. So the other 2 bacteria, they make the gluconic acid and glucuronic acid, which are 2 of the most widely studied organic acids. They have a ton of health benefits because they're made naturally in your body when you're young.
Okay.
But when you get old, your body quits making them. And so you need to put probiotics in your body. So then the probiotics can make those organic acids for you since your body's not being able to make them themselves.
Huh.
So that's why probiotics don't work for a month or two.
Okay.
Is because they have to colonize and then they have to start making those organic acids in your body.
This is fascinating.
Yeah.
I know.
So
I didn't know any of this beforehand. I'm not lying.
So the gluconic acid and the glucuronic acid. So the glucuronic acid, I was reading a study that they can actually tell how old your body is by how much glucuronic acid your liver produces.
I'm going to need that source because I don't believe you. I'm good.
Because the reason why they did it was they figured this out once they started going to like islands and trying to figure out like how old their elders are.
Oh, okay.
Because like they couldn't tell by just looking at them because a lot of them, they're out in the sun all the time. So of course they're going to look wrinkly.
And they don't have birth certificates and they don't have some of these other things.
Yeah. Exactly. And they could tell you how many seasons there's been, but sometimes that would be hard to figure out, especially if they don't have any calendars. Or anything.
So are the two, I'm going to get this wrong, glucuronic ones, do they taste worse than the acetic one? Is that what it is? Or
no, they taste better.
They taste better. Yes. Sorry. I asked the question in my mind and it came out the wrong way.
So
I was like, yes.
So the acetic acid is actually produced from the probiotics eating alcohol.
Okay.
So when you make vinegar, you want to make a lot. You want to make it they try to make it with as much acetic acid as possible because you're pickling and you're doing all these other things. So acetic acid kills all the other probiotics other than acetic acid bacteria.
Okay.
So if you soak things in vinegar that's raw, that's why you don't have to worry about getting sick.
So is acetic acid a preservative? Do people use it as a preservative?
They do actually.
I was thinking about this because we were talking about peak the other day.
So like if you read food labels, like usually the two main preservatives that are in things are, if they're using organic preservatives, is acetic acid or citric acid.
Yeah. Citric acid I know is.
And they're actually insanely similar. Oh, wait, no, I'm sorry. That's a different. Because acetic acid is not vitamin C. It's so different.
We can cut it out. It's okay.
Yeah.
And you knew the other big word, so you already get points for that.
Way ahead of me, for sure.
But yeah, so those like organic acids those give you like liver detoxification, lowering cholesterol, reducing inflammation, boosting your immune system. I mean, it has been shown to help reverse the effects of type 2 diabetes. It has been shown to hormone function, flush your lymphatic system, control your adrenal glands, like pretty much anything that has an enzyme.
What about
reaction.
thyroid? Thyroid?
Yeah, that's
interesting. I have a thyroid disorder.
You do?
Yeah. I've had it since I was 30-ish.
Since gluconic acid and glucuronic acid are mainly used for your body mainly uses those to help fight inflammation.
Okay.
So it makes sense why they would be so prevalent in young people, because maybe that's why they can heal so fast. And to be honest, I cut my hands all the time. I cut my hand pretty bad right there, and I haven't had to have a Band-Aid on it for a long time, and it's almost healed. And who knows, maybe it has to do with your healing factor.
Maria, what do you think about that?
I think he's chugging a lot of kombucha. We need to make sure we test. We do tests. We just keep cutting that open. How fast is that going to heal? I don't know how fast.
Can we be more scientific on that?
Yeah, no.
There's probably a ton of other factors.
No, but what I like about your kombucha is it doesn't taste so vinegar.
And I just explained to you why it doesn't taste very vinegary. It's because I don't cater to the acetic acids.
Yeah. I think that's really cool, but it's still really healthy for you.
It is, yeah. There's prebiotics. That's a buzzword right now.
Oh.
But it doesn't really mean anything. It does, but it doesn't. Because like true prebiotics would be nutrients that the probiotics could use in order to proliferate more efficiently or faster.
Which is what? Sugar, alcohol? I think you mentioned a bunch of them. But
so carbohydrates, basically.
Right.
Yeah. But there's also other things like molasses, aloe vera juice. You can even like psyllium husk can help with, because they have something to colonize on. So that's why like eating a higher fiber diet can also help with a lot of health issues as well, which is why they tell you to eat a lot of fiber when you're old.
Yeah, it helps flush out all the gunk stuck in your cracks and your insides.
Helps flush out all the toxins.
I'm going to leave all of that alone.
But it also helps keep you hydrated. So if you have a low fiber diet, your body can't hydrate as well because your body absorbs water most efficiently in the large intestine. And the large intestine is also where fiber builds up.
Does it also affect like vitamin absorption and things like that?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
That depends.
All right.
Because some vitamins it depends on where you're at in the digestive tract. But a lot of vitamins get absorbed in the small intestine too. That's why the small intestine is so large.
I'm going to stop us. We're a 10-minute warning here. I'm just.
How'd that go so fast?
I know, right? You're just like, oh, I think this is a sign of a great conversation, but because you just don't realize how fast the time flies.
I know.
But also, so we have 10 minutes left. Are there any questions that you want to get to? Oh, yeah. Are there any questions that or anything that you want to say? But I'll let Maria go first. I have a couple of questions, but I want to give you the opportunity to ask them if you haven't.
Yeah, Fermented Felon. Did you go through the RISE program? Is that correct?
I did go through the RISE program. I didn't go through the RISE in prison program. I went through their business academy.
Yeah, I want to know about their business academy as somebody who's gone through it, because I love all the people who are working at RISE and all the things they're doing. So it's really cool to see it like come into fruition for you.
Yeah. So I was a part of the second cohort. It was when they decided to open it up to anybody impacted by the justice system. And I haven't been in trouble with the law for quite some time.
Me neither.
Never.
And so
show off.
And so it was great because I had already started my business and I had been needing some guidance. Like I took a bunch of online courses and I could read as many articles as I wanted, but it wasn't as good as getting like a mentorship kind of thing. They went through a lot of the things I already had done because I had already formed my LLC and I had already had I have my product. I know how it's designed. I know. So a lot of that stuff didn't help me all that much, but I did get a mentor that was amazing. And
Who was your mentor?
His name's Jared Anderson. He works for the city of Omaha.
Nice.
Yeah. But he also is an entrepreneur. He owns 3 different companies.
Which ones?
Oh my gosh. One of them's a manure company, an organic manure, or not manure. Maybe, what is it? Organic.
I would hope it's organic manure.
Yes.
Because I don't want to meet the maker of an inorganic manure.
Like uric acid. Like that can be either urine or they can make uric acid in a lab. Anyways, yeah, I forgot what another one I think is like a rental for like jet skis, like a Turo. But like you can rent your 4-wheelers and your jet skis and your boat and your like stuff that you only use every once in a while.
Yeah.
You know?
So he helped you out.
Yeah. So he met with me. He connected me with the Nebraska Enterprise Fund because he knew people there. Yep. He knew people. Gosh, I'm trying to think. There was another connection that I can't remember. But yeah, I needed help just like figuring out like how to make an operating agreement and how he was really great at helping me figure out what direction to take my business and how I should progress and just stuff like that.
There you go.
Yeah. But I had 2 different health market managers that one of them came up to me and I talked to him for a hot minute.
Yeah.
And then another one came up to me and was like, yeah, I'd be interested in talking. And then another one, I went in there to talk to her and she was like, man, I've been wanting to talk to you. She was like, I tried to come to your booth twice at the farmer's market and you had a line like 8 people long and I didn't want to wait in the hot sun.
That's fascinating. So you went from a farmer's market. So did you go to a regional store, Hy-Vee, or did you actually have to go through the corporate?
No. So Hy-Vee actually is great because they allow you to independently distribute.
Okay.
So each individual store gets to choose what product. They can choose local products to carry. Yeah. So it's a lot of footwork, but I had to go around to every single store and sell them and get them to carry it.
How long was that process, like basically start to finish? You think it'd take a year, 6 months?
Oh, to get into what? To get into all the Hy-Vees?
From when they first approached you at the farmer's market to where you actually got into, like, now I'm just delivering to stores.
A couple weeks.
That's it. It was a turnaround. It was just a couple weeks.
The farmer's markets ended as second weekend of October, and I was in there by the end of October.
Oh, that's great.
That is really fast.
Because, like, since each individual store gets to do whatever they want, I had my own barcodes. I had all that other stuff. So I just went in there and they made tags for my products and they're like, here's your shelf space. I was like, sweet.
Awesome.
It's actually been really sweet.
What's the goals for 2023?
Ooh.
How many stores you want to be in? Are you looking to go to different states, different cities, or are you just, how many employees do you have now? How many are you looking to hire?
Those are all great questions.
Pick one.
So hopefully we're almost to the 50 marks. I want to be at least at 50 stores before the farmers markets start.
Okay.
And I'm going to shoot for the stars and want to be in Hy-Vee's distribution network. So they have a perishables network.
Okay.
That's owned wholly by Hy-Vee. So they pretty much only distribute to Hy-Vee's and Fast and Freshes, which is their gas station chain too.
Yeah.
Hopefully gain enough recognition that they approach me. I have been trying to approach them. Nobody ever calls you back though. You know how that goes.
I do.
Oh, you actually probably know how that goes a lot more than he does since you're the sales
Yeah.
director.
Yep. Silence.
Yeah, silence. But hopefully I'll get into Hy-Vee's PDI network. Then I'll be able to get into as many stores as possible, because then I'll be able to just travel around to each store and be like, hey, you can order this from PDI. And they'll be like, oh, sweet. I'll order some tomorrow or
That's
whatever.
awesome.
Yeah. Because I'm pretty sure that's what Oasis does. I don't know if you're
Falafel?
about. Yeah.
Hummus?
Yeah. Their hummus is in Hy-Vee's.
Yeah.
And I'm
Not familiar.
and they're in like all of the Iowa Hy-Vee's, and they're in all the little small towns. And I'm like, that dude does not drive around all those small towns.
Definitely not.
Because that would be just driving from here to Des Moines and hitting
Oh my
8
gosh.
stores. It's like I get back by 3:34 in the afternoon and I'm just spent.
Exhausted.
But then I'm like, I need to keep doing things because that's the entrepreneur spirit. I'm looking to build my C-suite right now. So I got me and my sister.
Do you have any other employees? Nobody help deliveries or anything like that? Like, where are you making all this stuff?
I make it in Bellevue.
No, I know, but like in your basement?
No.
Okay.
And
Just making
funny.
sure. I was kidding. I know it's not in his basement.
But I do get
The
asked that
garage.
a lot.
It's in the garage.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
No, the attic. The attic.
The attic.
That's where you get the best airflow.
Oh, and the most mold.
Oh.
Yes,
Exactly,
there you go.
yeah.
Okay, like you're making it in. You have a facility?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I have it's a commissary kitchen.
Yeah.
But I built it out to be a brewery.
Nice.
Yeah. So I have fermenters on the walls, and I use bright tanks. My equipment is similar to, it's like a cross between wine and beer. So I make it in wine equipment, and then I finish it in beer equipment.
You have a facility that you make all your kombucha in.
Mhm.
And do you have a bottler? Do you do it yourself?
Oh, yeah.
Or like
I have all we're getting around to getting more of the bells and whistles, but like I have a label machine that slaps labels on it automatically. My bottler is a counter pressure bottle filler, but it's a manual one. So it's skilled work. So that's what I was doing before I got here, but I can pump out 120 bottles in an hour.
Okay.
Wow.
Are you going to have to invest in more equipment to scale up?
And I know exactly what equipment that I need because I actually worked at Brickway
Did you?
Yeah. I used to give tours of their brewery.
Nice.
Yeah.
He's
Nice.
like, yeah, I know the back room.
Well,
I didn't know that. It wasn't on his LinkedIn bio.
It's true. That's because it was kind of short lived there. But yeah, but it was a great experience. They actually have my kombucha on tap.
Do they really?
They do. Yeah, they make a cocktail with it.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
So we can buy your kombucha at Hy-Vee.
Oh, yeah. Where do you
I
get the
should probably
kombucha?
tell you
Where
guys
can we
guys
follow
get
you on
the-
Shameless
socials
plug time.
to find out what the new flavors are this year?
Oh yeah, we're actually going to start a subscription service this year. So you'll be able to get, I think the way that we're thinking about doing it is that you're going to get a 6-pack twice a month. And then in that 6-pack, you'll get little tasters of just whatever we feel like doing. I'm the one making it. So
Yeah.
whatever I feel like doing. We've been toying around with some teas from Artemis.
Ooh, I love that collaboration.
And so that's like a whole nother beverage line that we're probably going to launch this next year. Hopefully this next year. And then, but yeah, you can get all my stuff. I said Hy-Vee's. I've probably said that a million times, but you can also get it at Woolner's. You can find it at both Sunnyside locations, which is a great breakfast place here in town.
Oh,
if you guys
yeah.
haven't been.
Yep.
You can also get it at the Gravy Train inside the Inner Rail, which is another great breakfast.
Yeah, my kids go
place.
there all
I
the
haven't
time.
been
yeah.
to the gravy train.
Yeah.
It sounds like I should, though.
Yeah, they took over Culprit's spot at the end in Inner Rail.
Okay.
Yeah. So you can get all those great biscuits and gravy. I think she does like a charcuterie board too. And
I'm into chicken and waffles these days.
so she does chicken and waffles.
Okay, I'll be there this
Yeah.
weekend.
Yeah.
That'll
And
be
she does like
exciting.
fancy ones too. I want to say like one time I saw there was like bone marrow, something or other. I was like, oh.
Tony, I just want to say thank you for doing this.
Oh,
This
thank
has
you for
been
having
so
me.
much fun. Maria, have you had a good time?
Oh yeah, I've had a blast. I've learned a lot.
So have I, a ton. And obviously this is our first time doing it. So I appreciate the lack of direction that we supplied. And I think I think you did a great job. So
Thanks.